Hello, so in this video we're going to go over a custom interface LinkedIn lead generation platform that we have built. So just to kind of give a walkthrough for this video, it's just going to be a breakdown of how the system works and kind of the different processes that work within it. It's not going to be an in-depth breakdown of how it was built and going into the in-depths of the code and no code that was put in place. So just to begin with, this was put together, well, first of all, I'll just let you aware that this was obviously put together on Bolt. And just to create the interface, I'll make a different video on that when it comes to it at another time. So you'd obviously put in your file name and then your URL. So to get the URL, you would need to come to a website called Apollo. So what Apollo is it's essentially like a prospecting website. So you've got loads of different companies from all sorts of countries where you're able to basically just search by keywords such as like industry. You can filter down by job title and then also employee size. All of this brilliant information here, loads of different things to filter it down by. So just to give you a rundown, when you come to the actual official page, you just come to prospecting, and then here you would obviously apply your filters. Obviously there are some paid versions which will obviously give you much more better performances and then in-depth search, but to be honest with you, with the cost of Apollo, it's not the most cost-effective way to acquire leads. So we're just going to take this search that I've got here at the moment, and what we would do is just post this into, get rid of that tab, into our lead scraper, and then we would send this off. So just to give a breakdown, before I do this, I'll show you how the system works just before I run it. So this is going into the back end. So this is on a platform called make.com, or Make, or formerly known as Integromat. So how this would work is once you send this scrape, it is sent to a webhook, which therefore receives the data. After then, it would create a new Google Sheets. Once the Google Sheets has been created, it will then take the URL and it will post it into this Apify actor. And then, so with this, it does say a total number of records. So I've just set it for 500 for now, because there is a minimum that you need to run on this actor of 500 leads, which was a little bit of a headache when we was putting it together, just trying to run it on a small scale to understand. Obviously you don't want to burn through all of your tokens, but if you go on to the actors, so how this would work, this is the exact one that we're using. So Apollo scraper, scrape up to 50,000 leads, so that's per URL. So just to get an understanding of how how Apify works, this is the front end of Apify. So you'd put your URL in here, the amount of leads you want to scrape, your file name, you click start and it would run it. You come over to runs, and then if you click on here, you can see here, this is where we was testing it out before, and you've got all of this information. So you've got verified, not verified emails. So it's perfectly fine. So with that, what we would do as well then is, with this data, you can download it straight from Apify, but to be honest with you, that then you've just got a list of leads, and there's not too much that you can really do with it. You still have to run it through another process anyway. So that's where we come with the power of make.com and automated systems, where you can able string together large, powerful automations to obviously tailor it to your needs. So after it's basically run the actor, what we need to do is set variables. So the reason that we set the variables is obviously because with Google, not with Google Sheets, with make.com, it's a little bit finicky when it comes to variables coming from certain platforms. So if you run it through a set of variables, then that way it's able to process the data a lot better and a lot cleaner, and you won't run into error messages. And then after it's done that, it has a sleep module. So once the Apify actor has been run, there is a 60-second delay on here. The reason for the 60-second delay is just because when you send over the API call from make.com to Apify, it will run the actor straight away. And as soon as the API connection has been sent, it will say that the module has been successfully completed. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the data has been pulled back through from Apify. So while it would be processing this data here, it would continue to run on make.com, moving over to the next module, and then it would just output no data, as there is nothing to be pulled back from. So because of that is why we have to leave in the sleep module. It's just to give it the time for the data to be received. After that point, so this is where you can see here that you get information come back. So this would be obviously just the information from the scrape, so the different prospects, their emails, all that good stuff. We've also got on here as well another set variable just so we can gather the information basically extracted from the Apify scrape. So the next tool that we've got on the list is Email Guard, and I would recommend Email Guard as they are essentially an email verifier, and what they do is just break down the emails that you put into them so they're able to identify the email host. So some emails are hosted on Google, some are on Outlook, and etc. You obviously get the point. So what that does is it's able to filter them down, so you can either target specific email providers which you'd obviously want to reach out to. So if you've got, for example, if you've got an Outlook email and then you're outreaching to someone else with an Outlook email, the deliverability is going to be a lot higher. And what we do is we essentially just filter out any email that's not a Google email. And the reason for that is just because with Google they have a lot of restrictions and it can affect your deliverability. So it's easy, and with bounce rates when you're running certain campaigns on platforms like Instantly. So the best thing to do is actually just to filter them Google emails out. After that, what happens is we are then able to get research back from Perplexity. So what Perplexity is going to be doing is it's going to be given the prospect's information. So for example, their name, so it'd be first and last name, and then it'd be the title, so CEO of, and then whatever their company is. And then that way Perplexity would go away and it would do research on the prospect to then break down, obviously, no, sorry, my apologies. They would go back and they would do research on the prospect, and then that way you'll be given the output of basically all of the information it finds, and then we then take that information, run it through a GPT module, so then it's able to create a personalized one-liner just to be in the front of an email sequence. Just to finish it off, we have here 3 separate different emails, so it all goes into the same Google Sheets, but it's just for A/B split testing, so essentially testing out different emails. And with these emails we've got down here, oh sorry, my apologies. Yeah, so with these emails it's obviously done by a randomizer. So this randomizer here will output a random number, and then it obviously filters it down by whichever number it falls into. So then that way you have a random amount of certain emails, so then that way you can obviously test which ones you're getting better responses with. So if we were just to run this scenario, just to go through, we just submit that immediately as data arrives. Yep, cool. So what we do is we take this link, just, oh sorry, my bad. So we take that out, put that there. We'll call this test video run. And just before we do that, we'll just quickly make sure actually. So we've only got an output of 3 on there, so just to save the tokens, but we won't go absolutely mental. We'll just put this in as 6. So yeah, continue to run. So now it's obviously waiting for the webhook response. Where you set it as immediately as data arrives, I'd have to come out the scenario for it to do that. So, but just to kind of show you as we go through. So we send that webhook over. You can see here, it goes through. Now it's running the Apify actor. So while this is running, I'll just show you. So it creates here a Google Sheets. If I click into this URL, as you can see here, there's nothing here at the moment, but the reason for that would just be because the Apify actor is still running. Okay, cool. So as you can see here, the Apify actor has run, and as you can see here, that is, we've obviously got that information. So as that's being pulled back, it's just running into the sleep module now. So we're going to wait for this to go the same way that we did. So I'll obviously just cut this out. Perfect. So as you can see here, it's run the Apify actor. So with mate.com, it has this really cool feature that it runs linearly. So it's obviously given the details back for one prospect. So I know we put 6 on there, but it would only filter them through one at a time. So as you can see here now, Perplexity is just doing the research on the prospect. So perfect. So this is the output that they've managed to come back with. Where is it? I always click on the wrong thing with this. Yeah, so Hamid Ghazi Darwish is a Group Chef Administrative Officer at Red Sea Global, permission real estate development company based in Saudi Arabia. Here are some key points about his role and background. And then obviously it just goes on to more information. Obviously this will change on your, basically the filter that you use on Apollo. So once that's all been broken down, then obviously it will change. But then after that, so you can see here GPT is coming with a quick personal line. So, hi Hamid. So with your hands-on experience with leading a large scale development at Red Sea Global and focus on your future proofing hospitality. Sorry, I'm not the best at reading. It's a little bit late as well, so just bear with me with this one. I'm struggling a little bit here. So I thought you'd appreciate some interesting off-market and refurbishment projects that align with your drive for innovation, value, and opportunities in real estate. So obviously it just writes a personalized one-liner, and then obviously that way you'd attach it to an email template. As you can see here, it's all run through. So if I go back to this spreadsheet here, you can see it's the exact same one, and it's brought in obviously the research about the prospect, but not only that, it's also partnered it with the email that has been set up. So that's obviously everything that we need to go through just about this system. This video will be used as a demonstration, so if you're watching it on YouTube, then obviously please give me a like and subscribe. If not, then don't worry about it.